Hello, viewers. Welcome back after a long time. Let me start with the part 5 today. Okay, so before starting this, I'll tell you what we have done in the last class and the last video class. Okay, so last video we have studied the part 4, that is the pre-fertilization structure and events. Under that we have started with the pollination. In pollination we have studied what are the types of pollination and what are the agents of pollination. Okay, and chapter under the chapter 2 sexual reproduction in flowering plants, and the unit 6 reproduction, which is the first unit, okay, of second PUC syllabus. So today, in continuation with that part, I'll start with part 5. So what we'll be studying in part 5 is, so it is under the same heading, pre-fertilization structure and events, and even we and same will study the pollination, and in that what are the outbreeding devices and what is pollen pistil interaction. We'll be clearing these two concepts today. Okay, so what are outbreeding devices? So here majority of the flowering plants produce hermaphrodite flowers. Okay, so flowering plants, angiosperms are called as flowering plants. The plants which will produce the flower are called as flowering plants or the angiosperms. So these majority among the angiosperms, majority of them will produce hermaphrodite flowers. So what are hermaphrodite flowers? These are the flowers having both the stamens and the carpels. Okay, a single flower is having both male reproductive part and the female reproductive part. Stamen is a male reproductive part and carpels are female reproductive part. Okay, so such a type of flowers are called as hermaphrodite flowers, and majority of the flowering plants will produce this type of flowers. Okay, so what happens is, in hermaphrodite flowers, so these are likely to undergo cell pollination. Okay, so what is cell pollination? So here you can see in the diagram, it is the transfer of the pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the same flower. Okay, so here what that is called as cell pollination, as the same flower is having both anther and the stigma, so they are likely to pass the pollen grains from the anthers to the stigma of the same flower. Okay, so that is called as self pollination. So continuous self pollination results in inbreeding depression. So if these hermaphrodite flowers will continuously go for the self pollination, then what happen is the depression is created. Okay, the depression is found. What is that depression is called as? It is called as inbreeding depression. Okay, what is inbreeding? It is breeding between the same plants, same species, okay, same varieties. So that is called as inbreeding depression. So now what happen is, so these flowering plants have developed many devices, okay, to discourage the self pollination and to encourage the cross pollination. So thereby, to overcome this inbreeding depression, what these flowering plants have done is, okay, they have developed many of the devices. Okay, so for what purpose? To discourage the self pollination and to encourage the cross pollination. Okay, what is cross pollination? It is a pollination, okay, between the two different flowers of two different plants. Okay, not the same plant, different flowers. This is also called as xenogamy. Okay, so that to encourage that cross pollination and to discourage the self pollination, most of the flowering plants have developed the outbreeding devices. Okay, so these devices are called as outbreeding devices. Okay, so let us see, there are generally 4 types of outbreeding devices. So what are these 4 outbreeding devices? Okay, so among that, so the first outbreeding device is avoiding synchronization. Second is arrangement of anther and stigma at different position. Okay, then self incompatibility, and next is production of unisexual flowers. So we'll be seeing the first outbreeding device, that is avoiding synchronization. So what is avoiding synchronization? So it is preventing of autogamy. Okay, it is done by 2 ways. Okay, by avoiding the synchronization, the autogamy is prevented. Autogamy is nothing but self pollination. That means transfer of the pollen grains from the stigma, okay, from the anther to the stigma of the same flower is called as autogamy or self pollination. So this is prevented. So it can be done in 2 ways. Okay, so what is the first way here? The pollen is released before the stigma becomes receptive. Okay, what is this condition is, for the pollination to happen properly or for the pollination to become successful, okay, there must be okay, synchronization between the pollen release and the stigma's receptivity. Okay, so what is this? The release of the pollen and the receptive time of the stigma should be same. This is called as synchronization. If the time of pollen release and the stigma receptivities both the same, then the pollination will become successful. Now what happens is, to avoiding the synchronization, the pollination is changed here. That is what, by two ways. Here what happens is, the time of pollen release, okay, it may change, okay, before the stigma becomes the receptive. The pollen releasing time, okay, is before the stigma's receptive time. So second method is, the stigma becomes receptive before the release of the pollen. Okay, these are the two ways. In the first way, the pollen is released before the stigma becomes receptive. In the second way, the stigma becomes receptive before the release of the pollen. So by these two ways, inbreeding depression is avoided here. Okay, what is the second outbreeding device? Arrangement of anther and stigma at different position. So this also prevents the autogamy, that is self pollination. What happens is, if the anther and the stigma, okay, are present in the different position, okay, it may be on upside and that may be on down, okay, or vice versa. So this prevents the autogamy. How is, if it is side by side, it is very easy for the pollen grain to fall on the stigma from the anther. Okay, so this is avoided by doing this. So third type is self incompatibility. What is self incompatibility? It is a genetic mechanism to prevent self pollen, okay, from fertilization. Okay, what is self pollen here? It may be the pollen of the same flower or the pollen of the different flower of the same plant. Okay, two pollens are also, okay, both the pollens are avoided to undergo self pollination here. So this is a genetic mechanism. We'll see how to undergo fertilization is avoided. It is done by inhibiting pollen germination or pollen tube growth in the pistil. Okay, you know that for pollination to happen, okay, after pollination the fertilization will occur. So for fertilization to happen, what is needed is the pollen which have been fallen on the stigma, that has to germinate. Okay, after germination the tube formation is there and that pollen tube has to reach the ovary. Okay, so it is done by inhibiting pollen germination or pollen tube growth here. So these two things are inhibited in self incompatibility type of outbreeding device. Okay, what is done here is, pollen is not germinated, otherwise if at all it is germinated, pollen tube growth is not seen. Okay, now we'll move on to the last type of outbreeding device, that is production of unisexual flowers. Okay, rather than going for the unisexual flowers, going for the bisexual flower. Okay, I said you in the first. Okay, production of unisexual flower is important here. So here we'll see the two conditions. Okay, what are these two conditions? First is, if male and female flowers are present on the same plant. I said you, if male and female reproductive parts are present on the same flower, then those flowers are called as hermaphrodite flowers. Here, if male and female flowers are present on the same plant, that plant is called as hermaphrodite plant. Okay, or else it is also called as monoecious plant or bisexual plant. Okay, or perfect plant, we can say. No, we can hardly say perfect for the flowers, not for the plants. Okay, so hermaphrodite or monoecious or bisexual, these are the three names. Here male and female flowers both are present on the same plant. Okay, example is castor and maize. Here what happen is, this prevents autogamy but not geitonogamy. Here autogamy is prevented. What is autogamy? The pollination in the same flower, that is prevented. Okay, but geitonogamy is not prevented. What is geitonogamy? Okay, it is a pollination where the pollen from the anther falls on the stigma of another flower of the same plant. Okay, it is from the same plant but two different flowers are undergoing the pollination here. That is called as geitonogamy. So this will prevent autogamy, but geitonogamy is not prevented. Okay, now second condition, if male and female flowers are present on the different plant. Suppose plants are different here. Male flower is present in one plant and female flower is present in another plant. Okay, this condition is called as dioecious condition or unisexual condition. Okay, So that is opposite to that particular monoecious and bisexual flower. Example is papaya. So here it prevents both autogamy and geitonogamy. Here you can see in the diagram example of male papaya and female papaya flower is there, and male cucumber and female cucumber flower is there. So here what happens is autogamy as well as geitonogamy both are prevented. Okay, what is autogamy? So pollination occurring in the same flower, okay, of the same plant. Here pollination occurring between two different flowers of the same plant, that is geitonogamy, both are prevented. Okay, so this is how the inbreeding depression is prevented, okay, by undertaking the 4 types of devices called as outbreeding devices in the angiosperm plants. Now we'll move on to the next topic under pre-fertilization structure and events, that is pollen pistil interaction. So what is pollen pistil interaction? Here what happens is there is some mechanism, there is some interaction which is going on between the pollen and the pistil. Pollen is the male reproductive part and pistil is the female reproductive part. So what is pollination? Pollination here, you know that transfer of the pollen grain from the anther to the stigma of the flower. Okay, so pollination does not guarantee. If at all pollination is happening, pollination does not guarantee the transfer of the right type of the pollen. Okay, so if pollination is happening, that doesn't mean that a good quality pollen is pollinating. Okay, so here pollen pistil interaction is a process in which the pistil recognizes compatible or incompatible pollens through the chemical components produced by them. Here what happens is, okay, it is the process where the pistil, what is the pistil? It is also called as gynecium or carpel. It is the female reproductive part of the flower. Okay, what it does is it produces some of the chemical components, okay, or some of the chemicals. So what is the function of these chemicals? These chemicals will sense or recognize the pollen's compatibility. Okay, what is compatibility? Whether it is fit, whether it is active, whether it is of good quality. So that is checked here. Okay, so what happens is this pistil will recognizes the good compatible pollen and it will discourage the incompatible pollen. Okay, so we'll see 2 conditions here. If the pollen is compatible, first thing is if the pollen is good, okay, if it is under good and it is in proper compatible, then what happens is the pistil accepts it and promotes the post pollination events. Then what happens if it is good, okay, without any disease, without any problem, then the pistil will accept it. Okay, so and then it will promote the post pollination event. What is post pollination event? That is pollen germination and pollen tube growth. These are the 2 post pollination events first which will happen, then there is a further process. Okay, so if at all the pollen is good, here you can see in the diagram how the pollen have fallen on a stigma and stigma has recognized, the pistil has recognized that the pollen is a compatible one and it has allowed for the pollen germination and then tube growth. Okay, then so pollen grain after being compatible, what happens is it germinates on the stigma and also produces the pollen tube. Okay, then the contents of that pollen grain that moves through the pollen tube, what happens is whatever the content was there in the pollen grain that moves through the pollen tube, and the pollen tube grows through the tissues of stigma and style and reaches the ovary. In the diagram you can see how the pollen is germinated, how the tube is grown and how it is moving, okay, and it is penetrating the tissues of the stigma and the style, okay, and then finally reaching the ovary. Okay, you can see in the diagram here there is a longitudinal section of the flower showing growth of the pollen tube. Then second condition, okay, if the pollen is incompatible, it is not good, it is of not good quality, then what happens? Then the pistil will reject the pollen by preventing the pollen germination on the stigma or the pollen tube growth in the style. Okay, if at all the pistil comes to know that the pollen which has fallen on it is not of good quality, then it rejects it. How it will reject? It will not allow the pollen, okay, to germinate on the okay, it to germinate on the stigma, okay, if at all it germinates. So in the second stage, how it will avoid? In the second stage, it will not allow the pollen tube growth in the style region. Okay, by these two ways this is avoided. Now we'll see the two conditions. Okay, first is in some plants pollens are shed in two celled condition. If you remember, I have told you what is two cell stage, what is three cell stage, okay, in the last classes. So here, if the plants in some plants, what happens is pollens are shed in two cell stage. What are these two cell stage? One is vegetative cell and one is generative cell. What happens in such plant is the generative cell will divide, okay, and forms two male gametes. In this, the generative cell will divide to give you two male gametes, okay, during the growth of the pollen tube in the stigma. So when these two gametes are formed during the growth of the pollen tube, till then there will be no pollen gametes, there will be no male gametes in that. Okay, so there is second condition. In some of the plants the pollen is shed, okay, or fallen and in three celled condition. Okay, this time what happen is, in this condition pollen tubes already carry two male gamete here. Okay, pollen tube will be having already two male gametes, okay, from the beginning. But in two celled condition, what happen is, it is formed, okay, after when there is growth, pollen tube growth is there, okay, during the pollen tube formation, that time the two male gametes are formed. But in three cell condition, that will already be having two male gametes. Okay, so now, so pollen tube reaches the ovary. Now in what happens further in the compatible pollen growth? Okay, this pollen tube reaches the ovary. Okay, I said you it will penetrate the tissue of the style and the stigma and then reaches the ovary and then enters into the ovary. You can see in the D diagram here as well as the E diagram, okay, how it is entering inside. In the D diagram you can see here, okay, pollen tube carry so pollen tube, it will enter into the ovule through the micropylar region. Okay, there will be two ends, I said, chalazal and micropylar end. Okay, so if you remember the last structure of the embryo sac and all, then enters one of the synergid. Okay, from the micropylar region it enters and there are two synergids, okay, those are the two cells, okay, which are present on the micropylar region. It will enter one of the synergid. You can see in the diagram D how it is entering one of the synergid, okay, among the two through the apparatus called as filiform apparatus. That green color one, what you can see is the filiform apparatus in the D diagram. Okay, this is in the D picture here. Then what is this filiform apparatus? This is presented micropylar part of the synergid. Okay, synergid region will make in the synergid region it is present in the micropylar part. So this, what is the function of these filiform apparatus? This will guide the entry of the pollen tube. Okay, it will guide the entry of the pollen tube into the ovule and the ovule in the ovary. Okay, so in the E diagram you can see the discharge of the male gametes. There will be two male gametes. You can see how it is being discharged, okay, into a synergid, one of the synergid, and the movement of the sperms, one into the egg and another into the egg, central cell. Okay, and how these two male gamete will move, one will enter into the egg cell and another one will enter into the central cell. So after this, post pollination events will happen. Okay, so here you can see the two picture of scanning electron microscope, where in the A you have pollen grains germinating on the stigma and on the B you have, okay, you can see the red color pollen grains, how it has started germinating on the stigma region, and in the B you can see how the long tube is grown on the style region. Okay, so here with this I'll stop today's class. Let me tell you once again what and all we have studied in this part. Okay, so in the part 5, so we have started with the part 5 of chapter 2 unit 6, okay, of second PU syllabus. Here we have started with outbreeding devices and pollen pestle interaction. So what are outbreeding devices? These are the devices which have been developed, okay, in the angiospermic plant to overcome the inbreeding depression. Here there are two types: avoiding synchronization, arrangement of anther and stigma at the different position, then self-incompatibility, and third, last is production of unisexual flowers. Then we have started with pollen pestle interaction, and we have seen the electron microscope, scanning electron microscope pictures of pollen germination and pollen tube growth. Okay, so thank you everyone. I'll stop my this one video class with this. Thank you.